Developing news in Berkshire County. 6 months after North Adams Regional Hospital closed its doors, new report questions whether reopening a full-scale medical center is a good idea. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Lydia Colbita.
And I'm John Gray. That report released just today says the focus in North Adams shouldn't be a new hospital per se, but it does say expanding services already there is a good idea.
As you can imagine, people who live in North Adams or have a stake in the hospital have a lot to say about these findings.
News 10 ABC's Amy Cutler's been following this story since day one when it broke 6 months ago. Joins us now live at the former hospital, which is now called the Berkshire Medical Center North Campus. Amy, what are folks saying there?
Well, John, the results of this report were highly anticipated in this community. Most that followed it closely, those like the mayor say they weren't surprised, but those that live around here and relied on this facility on a regular basis, well, they call it disappointing.
People's lives, etc. That's a little bit more important than money, I think.
Many in North Adams would likely agree with Rodney Cameron's assessment, but unfortunately those weren't the findings of a state-commissioned report on the matter. North Adams Regional Hospital abruptly closed back in March. The former owner said they simply ran out of money. Berkshire Medical Center has since bought the facility, but hasn't decided whether or not it will restore all of its prior services. That was the purpose of this assessment, known as the Shroudwater Associates Report, to determine if it was financially sustainable. It found that only limited services could be provided, and only if it's designated a critical access hospital. That would allow for higher reimbursements.
I'm hopeful with the report. I think it validated a lot of the things that we've been saying here all along, that there is a need for services and a vast array, a good variety of services here in northern Berkshire.
But tell that to Cameron, who doesn't own a car. He relies on the bus and has had to travel all the way to Pittsfield. That's where the next closest full-fledged hospital is.
My family itself, there's 3 of us that have medical problems, and it's just made it so much harder to get to BMC for any of these problems that we have.
In response to this report, the Massachusetts Nurses Association released this statement that reads in part, "The report misses the mark by tying the restoration of services to the financial viability of those services and support from the federal government through enhanced reimbursement. The report clearly shows that the residents of northern Berkshire County live in a region that is worse off than the state and national average for a number of health status indicators." Now, we reached out to BMC for an interview. They declined, but they do tell us that they will be holding several community forums on the matter. Live in North Adams, I'm Amy Cutler for News 10 ABC.